The rain fell heavily on the day I buried my father. As mourners slowly departed from our small village in eastern Nigeria, I stood beside the fresh grave unable to believe he was gone. My father had been everything to me, a protector, a teacher, and the only family I truly trusted. Before his death, he had squeezed my hand and whispered weakly, "No matter what happens, never stop searching for the truth." At the time, I didn't understand what he meant. Standing nearby was my uncle, Chief Emmanuel Okafor. Wealthy, respected, and feared throughout the community, he placed a hand on my shoulder. "Don't worry, son," he said. "Your father entrusted everything to me. I take care of you." I wanted to believe him. I had no idea that within weeks, my entire life would be destroyed. 3 weeks later, my uncle called me to his mansion. The lawyer opened a file and announced shocking news. According to newly presented documents, my father had left everything to my uncle. The farmland, the family house, the business, the savings, everything. I stared in disbelief. "That's impossible," I said. My uncle sighed dramatically. "Your father knew you were too young to manage these assets." The lawyer nodded. The papers looked official. The village elders supported him. I was powerless. Within days, I was thrown out of my own home. I moved into a tiny abandoned room near the village market. People whispered whenever I passed. Some laughed. Others pitied me. The son of a respected businessman had become a nobody. One afternoon, I saw my uncle driving my father's luxury SUV. The same vehicle my father promised would one day be mine. Our eyes met. He smiled. Not kindly. Triumphantly. At that moment, something felt wrong. Very wrong. Months later, while cleaning old belongings I had rescued from the family house, I found something unusual. An old photograph. Behind it was a tiny key taped carefully to the frame. My heart raced. My father never did anything without a reason. Attached was a note written in his handwriting. "If you're reading this, trust no one. Use the key." I froze. What key? What was he hiding? The key led me to an old storage shed behind my father's former office. Inside stood a dusty metal box. My hands trembled as I opened it. There were documents, property records, bank statements, and one sealed envelope. Written on it were words that changed everything. "For my son only." I opened the envelope. Inside was a letter written months before my father's death. "My son, if Emmanuel is claiming my property, then he has betrayed me." My blood ran cold. The letter continued. "I have evidence proving all assets belong to you. Copies are hidden with trusted people. Never give up." My father knew. He had anticipated everything. But why? What had my uncle done? Among the documents was evidence of something shocking. Years earlier, my uncle had secretly borrowed enormous sums of money. His businesses were failing. He was drowning in debt. Only my father's success kept him afloat. Then I discovered something worse. Many signatures transferring ownership had been created shortly before my father's death. They looked suspicious. Possibly forged. The letter mentioned a trusted friend named Mr. Is. I traveled hundreds of kilometers to find him. When I showed him the letter, tears filled his eyes. "Your father knew this day would come," he said. Then he handed me another envelope. Inside were original property documents. Documents proving I was the rightful heir. My uncle's entire story was beginning to collapse. When people learned I was challenging my uncle, trouble started immediately. Rumors spread. Some called me greedy. Others accused me of disrespecting elders. My uncle used his influence to paint me as an ungrateful nephew. Friends abandoned me. Even some relatives stopped speaking to me. For a moment, I considered giving up. Then I remembered my father's final words. Never stop searching for the truth. Just when things seemed hopeless, an elderly woman approached me. She had once worked as my father's secretary. For years, she remained silent. Now she was ready to speak. I saw your uncle forcing your father to sign documents while he was sick, she revealed. My heart pounded. This witness could change everything. The case finally reached court. My uncle arrived with expensive lawyers. I arrived with faith and evidence. The courtroom became silent as the hidden letter was presented. Then came the original documents. Then came the witness testimony. One by one, my uncle's lies began falling apart. His confidence disappeared. For the first time, fear appeared in his eyes. Just when everyone thought the case was over, another revelation emerged. My father had secretly purchased additional properties. Properties nobody knew existed. Their value exceeded everything my uncle had stolen. The hidden assets were also legally registered in my name. The courtroom erupted in shock. Even I hadn't known. The judge delivered the verdict. All stolen assets were returned. The forged documents were declared invalid. Investigations into fraud began immediately. My uncle's reputation shattered overnight. The same people who once praised him now avoided him. Power built on deception had finally collapsed. Months later, my uncle came to see me. He looked older. Broken. Defeated. For a long moment, neither of us spoke. Then he said, "I'm sorry." The words I had waited years to hear finally arrived. But they brought no joy. Only sadness. Greed had destroyed an entire family. As I rebuilt my father's legacy, I often reread the hidden letter. Then one day, I noticed a sentence I had overlooked. True wealth is not what you inherit. It is what you become after losing everything. For the first time, I understood. The greatest gift my father left me wasn't land, money, or property. It was resilience. Because when everything was taken from me, I learned who I truly was. And that lesson became worth more than every fortune I inherited.